Welcome to the deep dive. Get ready to explore virtual worlds and the metaverse.
We'll be diving deep into this research paper, 3D Virtual Worlds and the Metaverse, Current Status and Future Possibilities, by Dionisio, Burns, and Gilbert.
Yeah, so fascinating stuff. We're not just talking about gaming here, though.
Right.
This is about how we connect work.
How we express ourselves.
Exactly. Our digital identities, even.
And we'll break down whether the Metaverse is really the next big thing or if it's,
Or if it's all hype.
yeah, a digital pipe dream.
Exactly.
The thing is, we've been craving these immersive experiences for a really long time.
That's true.
Even before the tech was really there.
Yeah.
Think about it. Books, games.
Oh.
They've been building these worlds for decades.
Those early text-based adventures, MUDs, MUSHs,
Oh,
people were
right.
connecting in those digital worlds,
It's true.
drawn in by stories like Lord of the Rings,
Right.
games like Dungeons and Dragons.
It shows how much we crave that shared experience,
Yeah.
even if it's just through text on a screen.
Yeah, it's true.
Forming communities driven by that same desire
Yeah.
that we see fueling the metaverse today.
And it's so interesting how those desires were echoed in books like Neuromancer and Snowcraft.
Oh, absolutely. Those were groundbreaking.
They didn't just imagine these worlds, they predicted them.
They did.
Habitat active worlds.
It's like we almost willed them into existence.
It's true.
We wanted it so badly, even without the tech.
Yeah, and that drive for realism, to really be in those worlds,
Yes.
that's what's really interesting to me.
It separates a fun game from a truly immersive experience, and that's
Wow.
what this paper digs into.
So when we talk about realism,
Yeah.
it's more than just graphics.
Way more. It's every sense how all of them work to make us feel present.
Okay, so let's break it down sense by sense.
Love it.
Sight, obvious,
yeah,
high-quality graphics are a given. But what's next?
Stereoscopic vision,
Yeah.
that's a game changer.
Okay.
Think 3D movies, but amped up.
Okay.
Way better.
Okay.
Creating depth and realism beyond anything we've seen.
No more awkward eye contact struggles in those virtual meetings then.
Right. You'd really feel like you're in the room.
That's amazing.
But this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The uncanny valley.
Ooh, yeah.
The paper brings this up.
It's creepy.
It is,
Yeah.
because we can get the realism wrong.
Yeah.
And if we get it wrong, it's a problem.
Like that robot we saw at that conference last year.
Right.
Ouch. Still gives me the creeps.
When it looks almost human, but not quite.
The worst.
And that impacts how we interact in those spaces.
You're sure?
It's more than just aesthetics.
Wow.
If it's off, it's unsettling.
Okay, so sight, check. What about sound?
Sound is huge,
Yeah.
but often overlooked.
Yeah, it's true.
Think about it. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Imagine your happy place.
Okay.
What do you hear?
The waves on a beach.
There you go.
Birds chirping.
Yes. Each sound adds to the feeling of being there.
Okay.
And the paper talks about how crucial that is for virtual worlds.
Yeah.
It's not just background music, it's about positioning.
Right.
Sound placed in a way that makes your brain think you are in that world.
Okay, how do we do that?
Binaural audio.
Okay.
Surround sound, but instead of speakers, it's designed to work with.
With headphones.
Well, with how our ears naturally process sound
Okay, got it.
in 3D space.
So it's like a personal sound engineer.
Exactly.
Wow.
Crafting the audio landscape just for you.
Based on where you are in the world.
Yes. And imagine this, dynamic sound synthesis.
Okay.
So it's not just pre-recorded audio.
Right.
It's the sound of your avatar's footsteps changing based on the surface you're walking on.
Oh, wow.
Or a virtual waterfall
That's so cool.
reacting to your movements.
Okay, that's seriously cool.
It's amazing.
Okay, so what about touch?
Touch is tricky.
Yeah.
Really tricky.
Yeah.
Haptic feedback exists,
Right.
but
It's not quite there yet.
no, not yet. Those rumble features and controllers.
Yeah.
Basic.
Basic.
But there are haptic gloves and suits
Yeah, I've seen those.
simulating a wider range of sensations.
They look bulky, though,
They are.
and expensive.
They are, but the research points to pseudo-haptic feedback.
What is that?
It's fascinating visual and auditory cues to trick our brains into feeling something we're not.
Okay, so like those vibrating seats in movie theaters.
Exactly. You're not being touched, but it feels like it.
Right.
And then there's proxemics.
Okay.
Focus on how avatars interact in the space.
Okay.
Imagine if your avatar leaned back when someone got too close,
Okay.
making it feel natural without even relying on touch.
Wow, so it's about making those virtual interactions less like video gamey and more like us.
Precisely.
Ish.
And we're not at smell and taste yet, but for now,
Yeah.
perfecting those other senses is key.
Right, makes sense.
Those are the ones that have the biggest impact.
So we've covered making the metaverse feel real, but what about access?
Yes.
If it's going to be this big thing, it
Huge.
needs to be easy to get to.
Absolutely. That's ubiquity.
All
Two
right.
parts, access and identity.
Right.
First, how do we get in?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be limited
Like
to...
expensive headsets and gaming PCs.
Yes. Imagine if it was as easy as opening a website.
Oh my gosh. Click a link, boom, you're in.
Exactly. And that leads to the second part, identity.
Yes.
Imagine one digital identity, seamless, moving between worlds,
Okay.
taking your creations, preferences, everything with you.
That's the dream.
It is, but it's a big challenge.
No more juggling a million different accounts.
Oh, tell me about it.
One login for everything.
That's the dream.
It is.
Right now, it's like every virtual world is its own walled garden.
Oh, totally. Like the early internet.
Exactly.
Where everything was disconnected.
We need to break down those walls.
Right, yeah.
Unified experience.
So that's where interoperability comes in, right?
Yes.
It's like traveling to different countries without needing to exchange currency or anything.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, good.
Because it's about creating standards
Yeah.
that allow virtual worlds to talk to each other.
So I could take my virtual creations with me, like my clothes, my belongings.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I design like a cool jacket
Yeah.
for my avatar in one world, I can wear it in another.
Exactly. And it's not just avatars.
Oh, wow.
Objects, buildings, environments even.
That's amazing.
Sharing it all.
Okay, that's a huge undertaking,
It is.
especially with so many different virtual worlds already out there.
It's a lot, but it's possible.
So how do we even begin to make that happen?
Collaboration,
Okay.
consensus building,
Yeah.
just like we did with the internet.
Right.
The paper highlights some promising developments.
Okay, like what?
The Collada standard
Okay.
for exchanging 3D models,
Okay.
open source projects like Open Cobalt,
Okay.
things that could pave the way.
So collaboration is key here.
Essential.
But even if we get all of that right,
Right.
can the metaverse even handle it?
Handle what?
Millions of people, billions even.
That is the billion-dollar question.
Right.
Scalability is a huge hurdle.
It is. I've been in those virtual events where
Yeah.
it feels like you're moving through molasses.
The lag is real.
Not the seamless experience we're all hoping for.
Not at all, and it gets worse.
The more people.
The more users, the more complex the world, the more problems.
So the paper breaks it down into three main challenges.
It does.
Users, scene complexity, and interactions.
Yes.
So users, obviously, the number of people trying to access the metaverse.
At the same time,
Right.
we need a system that can handle huge numbers
Without crashing.
without lagging,
Right.
without creating a frustrating experience.
Okay, so then scene complexity.
Yes, the more detail,
Yeah.
the more interactive elements,
Yeah.
the more computing power we need.
Right, it's a lot.
We need to render these vast, intricate worlds without sacrificing performance.
Okay, and then interactions, that's a big one.
Huge, how all those
think
users
so.
and elements interact.
Collisions,
Yeah.
physics, just the stuff that makes it feel,
Dynamic and alive.
yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It is. And those interactions get really complex. The
Right.
more users, the more detailed the environment.
Well,
A
yeah.
huge challenge.
So how do we solve for that?
Well, the paper points to decentralization,
Okay.
moving away from one giant central server
Okay.
to a more distributed system,
Okay, so like a network of smaller servers
working together.
sharing the load.
Exactly. The paper talks about Red Dwarf's approach.
Okay.
They split up tasks and allocate resources dynamically.
Interesting. I've also heard a lot about peer-to-peer networks.
P2P.
Yeah. Could that work for the metaverse?
It could, leveraging the collective resources of its users.
So instead of one company controlling it all, it's
Exactly.
more like a shared collaborative space.
Precisely.
Interesting.
The paper highlights Open Cobalt and Solipsys, platforms exploring P2P.
So P2P could lead to a more democratic and resilient metaverse.
That's the idea.
Less censorship, outages.
Less vulnerable,
That's good.
no more single points of failure.
Right, that can bring the whole thing crashing down.
Exactly.
So we've tackled all this tech, all these possibilities,
Yeah.
but is society ready for this?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not like we're just talking about a new gadget here.
Right.
It's a fundamental shift.
You really is.
How we interact, not just with tech.
With each other.
Exactly.
It's huge.
It's like we're on the verge of a digital renaissance.
Oh, I like that.
Where the lines between real and virtual,
Blurring.
they're blurring. Are we prepared for that?
That's a great question.
It's not even just about whether it's good or bad.
Right.
It's about understanding the impact.
How do we even begin to do that?
We have to have these conversations now
Yeah.
before it's too late.
Right, like, what if we hit pause for a second?
Okay.
Imagine we get to design the rules
Okay.
of the metaverse.
I like it.
What are they?
What are your rules?
Right. What are our values at its core?
Yeah, because the thing is,
Yeah.
this isn't inevitable.
Right.
It's being built right now.
It's true.
And we're all part of it.
So for you listening,
Yeah.
what excites you? What makes you hesitate?
Because, like any tool,
Yeah.
it can be used for good or bad.
Right.
The future is not set.
We get to choose.
We're shaping it.
This is a big conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
And we're not going to solve it all today.
No.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding
A metaverse.
what it is, where it came from,
The challenges.
challenges.
The opportunity.
So as we move forward,
yeah.
it's so crucial to stay informed, ask questions, engage
Be thoughtful.
about this future that we want to create.
It's on us.
So we've explored virtual worlds, metaverse, all that.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around.
It is, right? This tech is pretty mind-blowing.
Absolutely. And complex.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground.
The tech, the challenges, the possibilities,
Easy to get lost in the weeds.
it is. So let's bring it back to you,
To the listener.
because this isn't just some abstract thing, right?
Right.
This is the future,
Being built right now.
and we're all a part of shaping it.
Whether we realize it or not.
It's true.
Every time you engage with these virtual spaces, right?
Every choice you make,
It all adds up.
it feeds into this evolving landscape.
It's kind of like we're all,
Pioneers,
yeah, venturing into uncharted territory.
in a way.
Right. So as we sign off here,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you'll take away?
What's sticking with you?
What are you thinking about?
For me,
Yeah.
it's that this isn't inevitable,
Right.
the metaverse.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a reflection of us.
It is. Our choices, our values.
Let's make it a good one.
Let's
Rita.
make it a good one. Until next time.
Until next time.